Okay, we will call the meeting to order then. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Noah,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bettencourt,
Here.
Council Members Bishop,
Here.
Olson,
Here.
Alakan, and Commissioners Fragasane
Here.
and Betts.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Very good. The Pledge of Allegiance, Councilman Olson, would you lead us in the
Sure.
pledge, please?
Everybody please stand. Place your right hand over your heart and begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. I believe we have a cute critter video tonight. If we could have that, please. It's a cute cat. Very good, thank you. Madam Clerk, please acknowledge the observances for the month of February.
The City of Palmdale would like to acknowledge the following observances: American Heart Month, Black History Month, National Cancer Prevention Month. Thank you.
Very good, and then if we could have the public comment rules?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, I'm sorry.
we might want to adjust the agenda.
Okay. What's that? Oh, no, that comes next. I have it next, after the public comments.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ladies
Oh,
and
wait a
gentlemen.
minute, I'm sorry.
May I-
I correct myself. Yes, are there any items?
We'd like to pull 9.1, please, to a future date. That's okay.
And we won't note it.
9.1.
All right, thank you. Now, may we have the public comment code of conduct?
Ladies and gentlemen, may I please have your attention? The meeting of the Palmdale City Council is now in order. A code of conduct will now be read, and we request that you comply with it to ensure the efficient administration of the meeting. Members of the public, it is your right to participate in today's City Council meeting, and the Council encourages such participation. However, the right of the public to address the council must be balanced with the need to ensure that public comment does not interfere with the orderly course of the council's business. All are reminded to abide by the following rules. Speakers must cease speaking immediately when their time has ended. Public comment on agenda items must relate to the subject matter of that item. General public comment is limited to subjects within the jurisdiction of the council. Public comment does not include the right to engage in a dialogue with council members or staff. Please remain respectful of the forum and refrain from uttering, writing, or displaying profane, personal, threatening, derogatory, demeaning, or other abusive statements towards the council, any member thereof, staff, or any other person. Members of the audience should be respectful of the views expressed by speakers, staff, and council members, and may not excessively clap, cheer, whistle, or otherwise disrupt the orderly conduct of the meeting. Any person engaging in conduct that disrupts the meeting is subject to being removed from the council meeting. Finally, if you witness conduct or behavior by other members of the public that disrupts your ability to remain engaged or participate in this meeting, please notify city staff. Thank you for your cooperation.
Now is the time for public comments on Section 5, 5.1 through 5.13, Section 6, 6.1 and 6.2, 8.1, the appointment section, and 14, Section 14, closed session. I have no speaker cards for those items.
Is there anyone wishing to
Hi, Marcia, and thank you.
It's okay, honey, thanks. 5.3 on the consent calendar has to do with one of my favorite subjects, Dry Town Water Park. It's always needs updating and refurbishing, and especially next year, the 20th anniversary coming up, we want to be all looking all perky and everything. So I hope you approve this update, refurbishing of the slide and any future water park related items. Thank you.
Time on the agenda items mentioned? Seeing none, we shall close the public comment period. We will now go to the consent calendar. Does any council member wish to pull any items from the consent calendar? Is there a motion to
I'll move to
adopt the
approve.
consent calendar?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second.
Start voting. Motion passes.
See, Marcia, you persuaded us all. On a very good item, by the way. Very good. Okay, now we will go to the joint consent calendar of the City Council and the Housing Commission. Does any member of the commission wish to pull any item from the joint consent calendar?
No, sir.
Is anyone on the council wishing to pull any item? Okay, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll make a second.
Okay, motion and second. Now, is this where we're doing two separate motions, or we're not there yet?
Well, this, you guys approved it in one swoop,
Yes,
so now we're in a good place to just go ahead and approve it.
okay, so that'll work, right?
Yes.
City Attorney, that's okay?
Yes.
That's what we want on a city attorney. All right, very good, so the motion's been called, and
Start
We'll vote.
voting. Motion passes.
very good. That brings us to 7.1, which is a public hearing. We will first open the public hearing on this item, or we'll first open the public hearing, then we'll have a staff report. This is on item 7.1, the expenditure of community development block grant funds and the application of funds to a particular project. Do we have any speakers on that, Madam Clerk?
On item 7.1, we have one speaker. If I can just read the resolution into
Yes,
the.
let's read it into the
record. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale authorizing the submission of a Section 108 loan guarantee application to the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Very good. So we are now opening it up for public hearing.
We have David Laird.
Good evening. I just want to first start off by saying, with a grateful heart, I'm thankful for Saves. I'm out in Pear Blossom. I've been a pastor out there for 22 years. We've been in partnership with Saves for over 20 years, working together to help the community. As we all know, the community has changed and challenges have been met, and there's a greater need for food. When we first began 20 years ago, we had about 80 on average. Now we have 364 coming out to our place in Pear Blossom. We always, as any kind of food bank you would know, there always needs to be an expansion. The needs are getting greater, and we just would really appreciate if this could be a center for helping the entire community of the Antelope Valley. So we hope that you will go ahead and see that this is a great thing to invest in for the future needs of our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
We have no more speaker cards on this item.
Anyone in the public that doesn't have a card wishing to speak? Okay. With that, we will go ahead and close the public testimony, and we will now ask staff to make a report on this item.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Sophia Reyes, Director of Housing. This item before you is for the Section 108 loan application, the request for a public hearing for SAVE's new facility with tenant improvements. We're requesting to apply for CDBG Section 108 loans of $7,134,000, and the new location is located, which I missed a moment ago, at 3rd Street East and East Avenue Q. We were requesting approval of the loan application and the activity expenditure through a substantial amendment to the 2024-2025 action plan. We're asking that we also adopt resolution CC 2024-007, that was read previously by the city clerk, and authorize the city manager or the designee to submit the application. The planned improvements include removing temporary rooms, adding ADA-compliant restrooms, replacing the roll-up doors, upgrading heating and air conditioning systems, improving parking access, adding solar energy and EV charging station for SAVE's vehicles. Other funding that the city would have is CDBG funds of $16,000, ARPA for design previously approved at $633,000, neighborhood stabilization funds converted to CDBG at $1,199,600 for funds for construction, soft costs including design and financing fees totaling $8,982,600. We propose a 20-year repayment with CDBG funds from the annual allocation. We receive $1.5 million per year at this time, and using a portion of that we estimate to be $575,400 per year. Proposed collateral is Legacy Commons, St. Clair Parkway, SAVE's improved facility, and two adjoining parcels estimated at $8,560,000. Public notice was placed in the AV Press and on social media, and we have received no comment ahead of this meeting, and we're available for questions.
What I'd like to do, with the consent of the council, is that we have a motion and a second on the item, and then we can have discussion by the council.
I'll move the item. I'll second.
Very good. Are there any questions that council may have?
No, I just wanted to say that I'm happy to see the city continue to invest in SAVES. It serves SAVES services over 6,000 residents of the Antelope Valley a year, and it's a very important part of our city. And I'm glad to see that we're expanding it and we're working on getting it into a new building. We've been working on this for many, many years. So I'm glad to see it come to fruition, because the building that we're in now is at capacity. And I think Patricia is out there in the audience. I think she would agree. So thank you for bringing this forward, and staff for continuing to work on this.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the council? I just want to make a kind of look at a particular aspect of this. We're asking basically for a loan of $7,134,000 for prospective CDBG funds, which we're authorized to do for the upcoming 5 years of CDBG funds that we would be receiving.
Correct.
And then basically, then we would have a period of time in which to pay that back.
Correct.
So in a sense, it's borrowing money from ourselves, okay?
It's allowing us to have the money up front to take care of this instead of waiting over a 20-year period to have the same amount of funding.
Wonderful. And it's, I think everybody on the council realizes the importance of SAVES to this community. It's serving the needs of many, many, many families that come through for food. And it's got a great history, as the gentleman pointed out a little while ago, but we're all very familiar with it. And Patricia, you're back there. Mm-hmm. We really thank you for your leadership in SAVES. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right. With that, we do have a motion and a second. Hearing no further discussion, we'll call the question. Thank you.
Motion passes.
Very good. We'll now move to 7.2. And I guess I'll ask you to read the resolution first.
An
Madam Clerk.
ordinance, I'm going to read ordinance number 1652. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palmdale, California, approving zone change 23-0003, a request to modify the zone from mixed use to neighborhood commercial for 4 parcels totaling approximately 5.69 acres located on the northwest corner of the East Avenue R and 25th Street East. Resolution 2025-011, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale approving General Plan Amendment 23-0003, tentative parcel map 84001, conditional use permit 22-006, and site plan review 22-007. A request to facilitate the construction of a 10-island fueling station, a 7,258 square foot grocery store, and a 2,127 square foot drive-through car wash located on the northwest corner of East Avenue R and 25th Street East, and adopting the mitigated negative declaration and mitigation monitoring and reporting program prepared for the project.
Very good. Before we're going to ask for public discussion first, but our commissioners from the Housing Authority are still on, and you're welcome to remain if you wish, but, okay, it's up to you. But thank you for being here. All right, are there any persons wishing to speak on this item?
Yes. Mayor and Council, we have Mabel Flowers.
Ms. Flowers?
Good evening. I'm usually not one to speak out against or speak, but I don't believe a gas station next to a high school is something proper. I work at Palmdale High School. I take my job seriously. The students are there, we're there. I know it's going to be a market. I know it's going to be, well, the last time the young man spoke, that it was going to be fresh fruit and everything else. I just think that's a disguise. There's no gas stations next to Knight High School, Little Rock High School, any of the Antelope Valley Union High Schools. And because we're on the east side and we're mainly brown and black, and I'm just saying it like it is, it just seems like no one cares. It's very inconsiderate, and I don't think it should pass. I don't care what SCE says, Mineral says. Would you want a gas station next to your home? That's all I have to say before I get upset. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stephanie Sturba.
Hi, good evening. I am also opposed to this as well. Not only am I a longtime Palmdale resident, about 39 years, I'm also an alumni of Palmdale High School and currently employed there. I know that you would not want your child going to a school that is next to a gas station, but that's only the beginning of our problems, is the health concerns for the people who live in those apartments there, the children who attend school, and the staff and faculty that work there as well. I don't want to have angry parents when our school's on lockdown again because we've had another theft at this place next door. I'm going to tell those parents to go ahead and call the city of Palmdale because they're approving this. When the place is calling us because another student fight has taken place there, I'm going to remind them that they should call the sheriffs because it is not our responsibility to take care of that once the students have left our site. But they could happily call the city of Palmdale, who's going to go ahead and probably approve this. When that place also calls because they're upset because another accident has occurred since their main exit is right in front of the school's entrance, I'm going to remind them to call the city of Palmdale, who approved this plan. When they call because they're upset that yet again, all of their parking spaces are filled because parents are waiting to pick up their students, I'm going to remind them that they should call the city of Palmdale and not Palmdale High School to remind you that you're voting on such a terrible idea. I don't know, was there any studies about the health concerns that apply to the people that are going to be surrounded by this? Was there any studies into the crime? We have just today, in fact, we're subject to a possible lockdown due to crime in the local area, which is often why we are on lockdown. So parents are upset. They don't want that. When they come to the school, they're upset, why are we on lockdown? And things get a little crazy for us. And this is just going to add to that. And I hope that you guys really consider this and really consider talking to more citizens before you go ahead and approve this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carl Flowers.
Good evening. Thank you for your time. I'm also opposed to putting a gas station next door to Palmdale High School. Generally, gas stations are never put next to schools. You can just Google that. That's just a general policy. Traffic, fumes, safety for the kids is always a concern. That's probably one of the worst businesses you can put next to a busy high school where you have people riding skateboards, walking, scooters to school, and you're having people come in and out of a 10 Island gas station inherently meant to get in and out fast, and you have kids walking. Their prime time of business is morning, people coming and getting gas before going to work. Afternoon, people getting gas on their way home. Guess when those kids are walking? Morning, going to school. Afternoon, going home. You already have a very busy area with parent pickups, parent drop-offs, bus pickups, and you're going to add to that with a ridiculous gas station next to a school. And then you had to even change the zoning to do this. The reason why things are zoned a certain way is because you don't want businesses like that next to schools. So I don't know what the motivation is. I think it's a disgrace that Andrea Alarcon, our city council member for that district, is not here. And I know she's received several emails in opposition to this. It seems very suspicious to me. And what I'd like to know, what is the motivation? We already have 3 gas stations on 25th Street East, 2 at Palmdale Boulevard, right across the street from each other, 1 at Avenue S and 25th. There is nobody in this area that says we don't have enough gas stations in that area. So the motivation is suspect. There is no need for it. It's very dangerous to our youth. And I would hope you would reconsider this proposal.
Thank you.
There are no further speaker cards on this item.
Anyone wishing to speak that does not have a speaker card? Okay, so all right, so can we have the staff report now? We'll go ahead and close the public hearing aspect of this.
Come on.
And you heard the speakers, right?
Okay.
Can you address some of the concerns,
Thurs.
please?
Mayor and council, I do see one, it didn't have the item number, so it is for the gas station near Palmdale High, Monica Dobson.
Okay, we'll hold off a second, Brenda, thank you.
She's coming from softball practice. Can I say something in between? Like, I didn't write it, but.
You're certainly, yes, come on up and speak to it. Just state your name, please.
Okay. Hi, my name's Mickey Martinez, and I'm a Palmdale resident. Also, I'm a Palmdale alumni. My sons went to Courtsville High, and there is a gas station near there. It's not even as close, but I just want to tell you that I've seen a lot of almost accidents, a lot of just chaos going on and stuff, and I know we're trying to, make Palmdale better and Palmdale safer, and it's not good. I'm also a teacher. I know the kids go where they go. That's where they go. They meet up at the gas stations, and I think it's a terrible idea. And like I said, I've seen it firsthand, and that's at, Courtsville, which is, west side. It's just, you're asking for trouble, you're asking for liability, you're asking for lawsuits, and I just, the safety of the kids should be number one. It's not like we're planting a high school here and the gas station's already there. We are smarter than that. Like, we can do better than that. And also, if that's true and she's not here because of that, shame on her. She should be here because she should be an advocate for everybody in the city of Palmdale, especially the youth. Under 18, we're in charge of them. And we know better, so we need to do better. So, thank you. She should be pulling up right now. There she is.
All right, thank you.
Perfect timing.
about that. I was coming from practice.
No problem. No problem. Just state your name, please.
My name is Monica Dobson. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. My name is Monica Dobson, and I'm a resident of East Palmdale and a teacher and graduate of Palmdale High School. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of myself and many other concerned citizens regarding the proposed gas station and other businesses that the city has intended to be built on the corner of 25th Street East and East Avenue R, right next to Palmdale High School. This concerns many of us for multiple reasons. First, the increased fumes can increase respiratory problems and can put residents in the nearby area at greater risk of cancer. Schools are a place with students who are considered fragile already. Exposing this population, much less the population in its entirety, is ludicrous. Second, increased traffic caused by the station can lead to an increased risk of pedestrian-related accidents. For those of you that haven't been near any school, including Palmdale High School, when school is letting out, anyone who has will tell you that the dangers of children crossing the street without regard for cars is already a danger. We don't need to increase these risks. Third, the possibility of spillages and leaks can directly affect our groundwater, thus posing a long-term environmental hazard for those that reside in the nearby area. Fourth, finally, let's face it, crime. Crime is already increasing across the country, and Palmdale is no different. We are already seeing an increase of homelessness near our campus. As the high school softball coach, I know they have been in my dugouts because we often have to clean up after them regularly. Placing a gas station next door to the school will potentially increase their presence, along with the presence of drug dealers and theft right next to the school. As a member of this community since I was in 4th grade and as a teacher in this community now, I implore you to reconsider the placement of this proposed gas station and businesses and all the dangers that come with them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak? Marcia?
Been listening to what everybody's been saying, and it's all absolutely true. I don't know if you're aware that all the different schools have different categories as far as the area that is allotted to go to the students to a particular school. And Palmdale is a unique school in that it is a walking school. It is a high school that does all the students walk to Palmdale High School. They don't drive, they're on the sidewalks, they're crossing the streets. All the students go to school, walk to school, and when school lets out, all at one time, they are all on the street. You know, they get picked up, yes, but technically it's a walking school. So that puts even more pressure on what goes on around Palmdale High School. When I looked at the plans for the new facility, I saw 2 driveways, one onto 25th and one into R. Now, when they come out of those, they're going to be able to, make right turns and left turns? I don't think so. They're going to be legally able to make a right turn or a left turn, but that's not going to stop them because it didn't stop them coming out of Palmdale High School when they were using the main parking lot. It said, a right turn during these hours only. Well, people just made left turns anyway because we're dealing with parents in a rush, kids in a rush. So I don't understand how they're even going to get out of that gas station, people with all those kids all over the place. It just doesn't, I just don't see how it's going to work. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right. With that, then, we will close the public hearing session of this matter, and we'll call staff back up. Ms. Magana. And if you could address some of the points that have been made by the citizens there.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the City Council. My name is Brenda Magana. I'm the Planning Manager. The item for your consideration tonight is related to the change in land use designation of the northwest corner of East Avenue R and 25th Street East to facilitate the construction of a fueling station, market, and car wash. I'd like to point out what sets this project apart from others of its kind is that this project includes hydrogen fueling stations and will not be selling any alcohol or tobacco products. The fueling station will be operational 24 hours a day, and the proposed car wash will operate from sunrise to sunset. This concludes my presentation. Staff recommends the council adopt Ordinance 1652 and Resolution Number CC 2025-11. I do also have the applicant here that can address some of the concerns that were raised by the citizens.
Okay. Could have the applicant come up.
If you could state your name for the record, please.
Sure. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, council members. Michael Ramirez on behalf of Beyond Food Mart. Beyond Food Mart is a business with a new marketing plan to deal with not only fossil fuels, but also electrical hydrogen vehicles, and also the fresh fruit concept for our C-stores. We operate almost 40 locations now, some in Northern California. We have some new locations opening up in Arizona. The principals of this organization have been doing this business now for about 40 or 50 years, so we're pretty good at monitoring these types of stations. To address a couple of those issues that were raised with regards to the fuel sales, the CEQA Act that we had to go through as part of this approval process, those reports cover air, gas, sound, and additionally, as part of our fuel review, it requires us to have a vapor recovery system. Those are the black hoses that go over the hose, that go over the mount, and that recovers any gases coming out of it. The tanks in the ground are sealed with gaskets so that we're not having any fumes come out. The CEQA reports that we put together that were reviewed and approved by the city and the city's consultants address all those issues with regards to levels, what's allowed, what actually comes out, and they have plenty of evidence for that. So that's part of the report. As to security, fights, accidents, parking, part of our security plan allows us to share all the video equipment inside and outside the store that's also pointed at the streets, and we share it with the local police agency. It gives them live time feed for what's going on the property. So if they get a call that something's going on, they can go to that camera right away and they can see what's going on if we have that situation necessary. We have groups of threes that work the property. One person will be walking the property once an hour to make sure we don't have any vagrants around. We don't have people that are sitting or trying to sleep or doing anything else on the property that they're not supposed to be doing. As part of that, we're not going to be selling any liquor there. We're not going to be selling tobacco. And so we feel that that actually will keep some of the nuisance that they're describing right now away from the property, because they're not going to have that ability to get those things that they're looking for in terms of drug use or alcoholism or those types of things. So we think it's a great project. We've got many of these stores. We've got a good reputation with all the communities that we're built in. We'd be more than happy to provide some of those contacts in all the different cities we operate in to show that we are good community members.
Okay. Let's see, I guess we need a motion to introduce the ordinance first?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
should have that.
it's a voice vote.
Okay.
A motion and a second to introduce and a voice vote.
Okay, so I'll move to introduce the item.
Okay. And
Is there a second?
To vote or just introduce?
This is just introduced at this moment.
Okay.
So a motion and a second. Bishop and Olson. Very good.
Voice vote? Voice vote?
All in
Aye.
favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? And I'll vote aye as well to introduce the motion. Okay. So at this point, we have had a staff report. We've had the applicant speak. We've also had the public speak on this matter. I'd like to have Ms. Magana come back up. I have a question. Don't go too far, Mr. Ramirez, you might. So, Ms. Magana, the traffic concerns that were pointed out by a couple of the speakers, in terms of vehicles exiting from the gas station onto Avenue R or to 25th Street East, what about those concerns?
So as part of the CEQA documents, like our applicant here just mentioned, we also reviewed a traffic study. So we took those traffic counts and they were negligible. They also will have an entrance and exit from 25th Street East, and there's going to have a private entrance on Avenue R to the site.
They'll be able to exit out to Avenue R?
Correct.
At entrance and exit? Okay.
Yes.
And the same thing goes for 25th
25th
East?
Street East. So if
Okay.
you look at page 6 of your staff report, you'll see the site plan there, and there's an entrance and exit on 25th Street East and on East Avenue R.
I'm asking on behalf of the public here, so.
And are there bike lanes on those streets?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
According to the site plan, there's 2 parcels
parcel 2 that's directly next to the high school is not part of this project?
Correct.
So there is going to be a buffer between the gas station and the school?
Right. Whenever that site gets developed, it'll have to go through a separate entitlement process.
Okay, and there's also walls that are going to be separating it from residences that are to the south of this?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so I guess we started the discussion anyway, but is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
Can I ask, may I ask a couple
Yes, of course.
questions?
Please do,
Okay.
Mr. Bishop.
How many gas pumps are there?
10.
We have 10, and how many hydrogens?
4.
Are there any electric charging stations?
So they will be required to as part of the building code.
Okay. All right. So that's not that many pumps, I guess you could say. I'm looking at kind of the math here, but these are pretty large setbacks, in my opinion. It's not ideal. I would agree with that. It's not ideal to have gas stations close to any type of housing or school. However, we're going to see a lot of this come forward here in the city of Palmdale. It's called infill development. And as time goes on, we're going to lose the ability to zone these properties. If this wasn't going to go beyond food market with the fuel station, it could go extreme high-density housing. I mean, it's either going to be one or the other. I believe that this is the time that we should be continuing to invest in our community and let investors come in and invest. And I think this is a good project. I think they've been aware and comprehensive enough to look at the setbacks, because when you look it up, the average gas station only uses 1/4 of an acre. This is a 5-acre parcel. So if you look at, it looks like it's close on the map, but there's enormous space between the gas station, the pumps, and then the space between the school. There's sometimes 10, 20, 30 feet of setback, which is unusual and uncommon. Is that correct?
Correct. And just to point out that this has a setback of 120 feet at the rear.
120 feet. That's pretty big. I know there's a neighborhood in my community. It's off 10th Street, right across from the Sizzler, and then you have the USA gas station. I could probably throw a rock and hit one of the apartments from one of the pumps. So there's been I think, yeah, some people know which gas station I'm talking about. There's far worse situations with gas stations that have been developed in the past. But like I said, this person has put substantial investment in the community. And if we weren't to approve this, who's to say we'd be back here in a few months or next year looking at a high-density project where they're looking to put thousands of people there? Because that's what the state's going to make us do. Am I correct? Or, I mean,
Yeah, that's correct.
so take the good with the bad.
Can I have the applicant come back real quick? I'm sorry, Mayor.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, because I want to address some of the talking that's going on over there, because I can still hear them. Did you pick this property because it was on the east side and you want to punish brown people?
No, not at all.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to let you know on the driveways,
That's the accusation that you're making. I think it's unfair to accuse this body of doing something so outrageous or egregious.
It is an attack, environmental attack on those
Okay.
people in that community.
Okay. All right, sir.
What you say it is, and the thing about it is that you can call it an insult, but it's not. She had a legitimate point.
Yeah.
That
It is not.
gas stations
All right,
like
sir,
that.
sir.
There are other schools that
Excuse
don't
me,
have
sir.
those black
Excuse me, sir.
Oh, I'm just
What-
responding to him.
I understand that, and that's the problem with doing that. But the public has spoken. We've given ample opportunity for all persons to speak on this item. And at this point, we're considering the issues. So you've responded. So it's not because of any ethnic issue. What is it that you wanted to add to this regarding
the
it?
traffic with regards to going in and out of the property, it's a right turn in only and right turn out only. There's no left turns allowed to go across that way to the street on either of the major streets there.
Have you seen the traffic in front of Palmdale High School? I want to know that.
Excuse me, ma'am.
It's a legitimate
The public had an opportunity to speak. At this time, it is the council, and we're talking to the applicant at this point. Please respect these rules. I appreciate that.
The traffic study that was prepared for this, there were traffic counts taken at all times during the day. And specifically, we're not allowed to be there on the weekends or on holidays because they want to monitor the school traffic as well. So yes, that information is part of that report. And that report is available, the whole CEQA report is available for somebody to read through.
All right, and I believe the entire reports are available online, and copies of this can be obtained by any member of the public that has a concern about it. I wanted to ask Ms. Magana a little bit about the emissions summary. If you could please come back up. Thank you, Mr. Ramirez.
You're welcome.
So I was looking at, on page 20, table 5, during the summer, which is probably the most acute period of time in which emissions would be affecting the nearby environment. If you look at table 5, can you explain a little bit about that? And tell us a little bit about what CEQA is, and you don't have that?
No, I don't have the environmental document.
Here, let me give you this. So California has some of the strongest, probably the strongest environmental rules in the whole nation. So such projects as this one are placed under great scrutiny to see if in fact there's going to be effects on the environment and many other aspects as well, including traffic, including if there's any human remains that may be uncovered during the process. Landscaping isn't required under CEQA, but impacts on the environment is. So can we talk a little bit about the emissions portion of this?
Sure. So what I can say about it is that this is also looked at by Antelope Valley Air Quality Management District.
That's correct.
So they set eyes on this and they set standards. So whenever they do their review, they have to comply with Antelope Valley Air Quality Management District's requirements. So they do have to maintain a level of less than significant. And if there are levels that do exceed that, they would need to mitigate that. But this report proves that it is under the significant threshold.
So it says that it's a very low significance?
Correct. It's
Right,
less
and-
than significant.
What is the comparison between the findings for this particular site and what the requirements are on the maximum level?
I'm not sure of the numbers. We can get back to you on that.
Isn't
We'll
it
look
part
at-
of that page that I just gave you on chart number 5? If you look at that chart. Maybe I'm misreading it.
I don't see it on here.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. So the AVA QMD thresholds, for example, for ROG are 137, and what they're proposing is 24.1. Again, 137 for NOx, and they're proposing 13.
Tell us what those letters mean, please. NOx, and I think you had another acronym.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Nitrogen's oxides.
she's speaking to it. Thank you.
Okay. So ROG is reactive organic gases, NOx is nitrous oxide, CO is carbon monoxide, SO2 is sulfur dioxide, and there's 2 others here that are particulates. So the thresholds are approximately 137, and these are significantly below. As I mentioned, it was 24.1, 13.5. There's a number of the threshold of 548 where they are proposing 132. There's also a threshold of 82 where the project proposes 19.6, and another threshold for 65 where there's 5.1.
All right, and so this particular project was scrutinized for all of these effects, for all these chemical outputs, all of these emissions. And what's being proposed by the applicant is far below what the standard would be
Correct,
in terms of emissions that would be coming into the environment.
correct.
All right, thank you. Is there any other discussion, any other question?
I have some discussion.
All right, go ahead, Ms. Bittencourt. Could I have my page?
The idea of saying that there's going to be a wall, or there's going to be setbacks, I'm 62 years old. I remember the time where you could go to a restaurant and you could sit in the smoking section or the non-smoking section, as if the smoke didn't travel through the building. Having a brick wall is not going to stop any of that vapor or the gas from floating into another area. I honestly, by the way, east side, 35th and S, so I'm right there, you guys are my neighbors. I can't think of a worse place than next to a school. And the reason I say this is I've seen a lot of scientific stuff in my lifetime that failed. I come from an era where you used to put butter on a burn. You don't do that anymore. A lot of things that went on in the past where they were scientifically sound at the time turned out to not be. For those, I'm just going to bring this up, for those of you that don't know, I am dying of terminal cancer. It could be something I was exposed to as a child, I don't know. But what I'm not willing to do is to expose any other child to anything that may put them at risk for getting what I have.
And we're done.
It's not fair. There's plenty of other places we can put it.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions?
Is there any further discussion? Is there a motion?
Well, to be honest, I do want to hear from the council member whose district this is in, so I'm going to make a motion to table it until she returns.
Okay. So tabling motion requires a second? Okay, is there a second to the tabling motion? Hearing none, the matter is not
Well-
tabled?
I'll second it. I thought Ms. Betancourt was going to second it,
Oh, no.
based on your speech.
No, I would rather just say no.
Okay.
Now, I want to hear from the council member whose district this is in, because she's had a lot of involvement in this, so I think we need to hear what that
But
is.
honestly, you guys, for me, it would be different if it was next to an adult facility. But as kids are growing, it changes their DNA, And until they're adults, until their bodies are completely formed, I'm just not willing to put kids at risk.
Okay.
I just can't do it.
So the motion that's before the council is to table. I'm going to go ahead and call the question on that particular item. Is that a voice vote, or do we go by?
No, I'm going to actually put it in the system, so we have a motion and a second for that. Start voting. Motion passes.
All right, and this matter is then going to go to the next council meeting? Is that correct?
It will go to the next council meeting where the subject council member is present. So if that is the next one, yes, we will check and make sure we have a full panel.
Don't we have to set a firm date?
Go ahead, we'll consider this set to the next meeting, but we want the public to be aware it could get continued again. Again, we just want to make sure all five are here, so if we set it to next meeting and all five are not, we will continue it again.
And it has to be
Okay.
renoticed each time, so just be aware.
There has to be what
We
now?
have to renotice it each time for the public, so it is a 10-day advance notice that we have to provide. So that factors into when it comes back as well.
Okay, very good. So that will be scheduled at a council meeting in the future. I'd like to thank the public for coming out and voicing their opinion on this issue. I know it's a very important issue. I also know that it's an important issue for the applicant. So we are going to work our way through this, and after we hear from the council member and that represents District 5, we'll see where we go from there. But thank you all for being here. All right, with that, we will then go to 7.3, and we will have the clerk please read the title of ordinance.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Palmdale approving comprehensive development 23-0002 to facilitate the development of approximately 75 acres for the purpose of constructing 627 single-family residencies within Phase 1B of the Ritter Ranch specific plan generally located to the east and west of Westland Drive, Ranch Center Drive, and south of City Ranch Road. Next is Resolution Number CC 2025-012, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Palmdale approving conditional use permit 23-0018, investing tentative tract maps 23-003, and VTTM 51508-03 and 23-0004 VTTM 63145 to facilitate the development of approximately 75 acres for the purpose of constructing 627 single-family residences within Phase 1B of the Ritter Ranch Specific Plan, generally located to the east and west of the Westland Drive Ranch Center Drive and south of City Ranch Road.
All right, so should we first have a motion to introduce the ordinance, and then we'll have the public comment? Okay. Is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay,
Voice vote?
very good. And now we will open the public hearing. Are there any speakers to this item?
We have the applicant, Ramiro Albaran.
Okay, are there any, before we call on the applicant, are there any members of the public wishing to speak?
I will call those. We have resident, and it just says, it just has resident here. It looks like RESIDENT.
Resident? Whoever wrote resident on their speaker card, please come forward.
Or is it RO? No? Okay. Then this one, it looks like it's ROSIDENT, or is it RE? This one?
Instead of a name?
Right, it has an address, which I don't want to speak out that. This is the name that's on here, actually.
Okay, well, no one is responding
Okay?
to that. Let's go to the
And
next
then we
one.
have Roger Soderstadt.
Oh, we've seen you before.
Once or
Welcome, sir.
twice. Yeah, I have my hat on because I'm having a bad hair day. I see I'm not the only one affected by this issue. Yeah, I'm a longtime Palmdale inmate, resident. And there were concerns about the water supply for Ritter Ranch back in the 90s. Well, I guess the council has forgotten this. I haven't. And looking through the paperwork about it, I didn't see discussion about it. Now, perhaps my eyesight wasn't sharp enough to pick it out, or maybe it's not in there. So could this affect the water supply for the rest of the city, for the existing residences, would be my question. And as long as I'm up here, I would like to advocate against giving any more funds for the marketing of the auto mall, and would request that these.
Well, that's off topic, sir. We're limiting it
It
to.
is off topic,
Yeah.
I agree.
So if you don't mind, please.
So you mean I have to get up again to comment on it?
That'll have you take a few more steps.
I shall.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker?
We have no more speaker cards on this. We have the applicants who would like to speak. So
Okay.
we have the applicants on this
Before we
item.
call the applicant, are there any other speakers wishing to speak to this item that, there's a gentleman there. Why don't you come up, sir, and state your name?
Resident, is that a Northside Drive address?
Yes.
I'm your guy.
Okay.
Just state your name for the.
I will.
Thank you.
My name is Carl Piercy, live in Leona Valley, got pushed out of Lancaster in the 70s, grew up there in the 50s, and small town kid. I remember before the 14 freeway was put in. Yeah, it goes back. Yeah, so I found out when I moved to Leona Valley in the late 70s that it's kind of a refugee camp. People that have been pushed out of a city that want to have horses, want to have some acreage, and don't like traffic. I'd like to get into a quick observation I've had regarding city councils and the people that run and get elected as representatives. Your voters represent you, or, make you the representative. But my observation is once you get on the seat, you're managing a business. And it seems to be a little different than representing the people. Now, I come into town now maybe 3-4 times a month. So I'm not here all the time. But I do notice when I go down 10th Street West, sometimes there's 2 or 3 light signals before I can get through an intersection. I think that's absurd. Do you realize 627 homes at maybe 2.5 cars per home? You're increasing, you've got 5.93 miles of bumper-to-bumper additional cars. I don't know if if Caltrans is going to get up to speed with this. I see the city as being 2, maybe 3 decades behind the infrastructure now to talk about an increase like that. It's just too many cars, too much traffic. And again, back to representing the citizens, which I'm not. I guess I'm speaking for the citizens that elect you, but I'd like you to look at the quality in Palmdale rather than the quantity. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Anyone else wishing to speak on this item? All right. Hearing none, then we will close the public hearing. We've had a motion and a second to introduce the ordinance, and I'd like a motion to adopt. Oh, wait a minute. We're going to hear from the applicant. So could we have the applicant representative come up?
Romero Alvarón and Peter Gutierrez
Very good.
after him.
Can I, happy to, make some opening remarks.
Sure, of
but
course.
We were also willing to have the staff report read and then come up and answer questions at that time.
Would you prefer it that way?
I think I'd prefer it that way. and
Okay.
I,
All right, let's
stick
have
more
the
to
staff
protocol.
report then.
Thank you.
We'll accommodate you there.
Good evening.
Hi there.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members. My name is Megan Taggart. I'm the Interim Director of Economic and Community Development. And before you this evening is a request for approval of Phase 1B of the Ritter Ranch development, which is located southeast of Phase 1A, and it is north of Avenue S, which is also known as Ritter Ranch Road within the Ritter Ranch specific plan. The proposal includes a request for approval of 2 tentative maps, a plan development document, and a conditional use permit, and allows cohesive development of 627 residential units on a 75-acre site. The proposal also includes open space, trails, parks, and all of the public infrastructure that would be needed to support the development of Phase 1B. Although the plan development document allows up to 627 dwelling units, only 135 single-family detached dwelling units are proposed at this time, and the balance of the 492 residences, which are intended to be condos and townhomes, will be proposed at a later date. So that portion of the site will remain vacant at this time. The Planning Commission did make a recommendation for City Council approval at their January 16th meeting. Subsequent to that recommendation, the applicant requested several changes to the conditions of approval that were relatively minor in nature. And so after collaboration with staff, we did make some edits to the conditions that omitted some conditions that did not need to be in the document and clarified other conditions. And you do have those revisions within the packet before you. And if approved by the council this evening, the final conditions of approval will include all of the changes that are proposed in your packet. In addition, staff reviewed the environmental impact report that was prepared for the Ritter Ranch project and determined that the proposed project results in fewer residences than what was analyzed in the original EIR, and that it would not have any additional or more significant impacts than what was previously analyzed. So an addendum to the EIR was prepared specifically for Phase 1B, and that is also included in your packet for consideration. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Yes, well, we wanted to have the applicants come up. They wanted to hear from Stafford. Don't go too far. Ms. Taggart, you're right there. Now, you've heard some concerns about the number of vehicles, and perhaps Ms. Taggart has information on that, but the number of vehicles, traffic concerns.
Yes, I'll address that in my remarks. And I'm Peter Gutierrez, and I represent the applicant, RDR Development. The applicant is here tonight, Romero Alvarón, and he'll be making a few remarks as well. First, I want to thank your incredible staff for all of the work that they've done on this project. Obviously, we wouldn't be here without them. So tonight, we respectfully request that your council approve Phase 1B that's before you. Phase 1B is consistent with the specific plan. It complements the already approved Phase 1A to complete this first phase Ritter Ranch neighborhood. Phase 1B, together with Phase 1A, realizes the specific plan's vision of a highly amenitized community. It adds 12 acres of parks to the already approved 13 acres of parks in Phase 1A. So there's trails, there's bike paths, it's a very highly amenitized community. It's also a pleasure to work and partner with the city of Palmdale to be part of the solution to the region's housing crisis. This First Ritter Ranch community will help the city meet its housing goals in its housing element by providing approximately 50% of the above moderate units called for. Also, the sale of lots in the first phase of this community will help fund the city's enhanced infrastructure financing district to help finance city infrastructure. With respect to the issues that were raised by the gentleman, the addendum that was prepared for this project has a detailed water supply analysis. It looks at water supply, water infrastructure. There's a report that was prepared based on the Waterworks District 40 Urban Water Management Plan. Waterworks District 40 is the water retailer that will be serving the project. And so the detailed report looks at water supply for Phase 1B, and there's ample evidence in the addendum and in the water supply report to demonstrate that there is adequate water supply to serve the project. With respect to traffic, again, there's a detailed traffic study that was prepared for both phases 1A and 1B, and that traffic study, again, it shows that there is not going to be a significant effect from traffic. In fact, there's going to be less traffic than was contemplated under the specific plan, because as you heard from staff, there are actually fewer units that are being proposed in these phases than are allowed. So you actually have fewer homes, you'll have fewer traffic, and there is, again, a detailed traffic report prepared by outfit called DKS, and it shows that there's not going to be any more traffic, in fact, less than was contemplated in the final EIR. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Albaran. By the way, we also have our consultant team here, the EIR preparer, engineer, and we're available to answer any questions that you might have.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, members of Council. Ramiro Albaran with RDR Holdings, one of the principals involved in moving this transaction forward. It's been in many, many years in the working with city staff and the council, really appreciative of all of the effort that everyone has taken to get us to this point. This is the natural next step for the current portion of Ritter that exists within the existing specific plan. As you know, there are many things that we're going to need to talk about as it relates to the balance of the property. But that's a conversation that we've also promised to have with the city in terms of pursuing the amended or new specific plan for the area. But tonight's action is very limited to the 75 acres and the additional homes that are part of Phase 1. I think cohesively, the units that will be coming online will be a great addition to the city's housing stock. Also, proud to be part of the solution in terms of the housing crisis that is all over the state, but we hear about it in Texas, and we understand the issues, and again, we're just happy to be part of the solution to the extent the council is so helpful in granting our motions tonight. Thank you.
Very good. So at this point, I'd like to entertain a motion in a second, if we could have that to begin the council discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, very good. So there's a motion and a second, and before we vote, I believe Councilwoman Bittencourt has some questions or some.
I do. So I just flew in from out of state. I've been out of state until this morning, so I can't do math in my head real well right now. I was just wondering, what is the average size lot for these homes?
Ms. Taggart, do you have that?
They're about 5,000 square feet.
And the reason I'm asking this is criminology is my field of study. And there's been peer-reviewed research that shows that homes that are put on lots less than 7,500 square feet are more criminogenic, meaning they'll generate more crime problems. So I was hoping to hear something more along the lines of 7,500 or above, but you say the average is going to be 5,000?
I would say the smallest lot is 5,000. The average is a little bit higher than that because there are some sort of odd-shaped lots based on the street configuration. So the average is probably a little bit higher, in between 5 and 6, but it would definitely be less than 7,500.
Thank you.
Do you have any other questions? Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, if I may speak to that, it should tie into the Ana Verde neighborhood quite nicely. Most of the homes there are on 5,000, 6,000 square foot lots. Yeah, there's some bigger homes with bigger lots, but the house that I live in has a 5,000 square foot lot. And I think that most of the Antelope Valley knows that Ana Verde is a nice place to live. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen or don't know of a lot of crime there. But I know that smaller lots have gotten that reputation, but this is a different type of real estate product than what we've seen. If you look at how they've developed in Santa Clarita with the walkways and the trails and the larger setbacks and things of that nature, it's a higher end quality
And I
real estate
understand the smaller
product.
lots will help conserve water too.
Just a second,
Yeah,
please.
parks and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the area it's heading. I know it sounds small, but if anyone's been to the Ana Verde neighborhood, it will tie in, even though there's a little bit of a gap between this neighborhood and that neighborhood. But this has been in the works for 20 or 30 years. The city, along with the investors and developers, have put countless time and money into this. And I think this first phase of 100-something homes is ambitious. It'd be nice to see something happen back there after many, many years of planning. I don't know if anyone's been back there, but you see the walls, the concrete walls, or the brick walls that have been up for 10 years untouched. The city's invested a lot of time and resources into a CFD or a Mellow Ruse to get all the infrastructure into place. So everything's turnkey and getting ready to go. So I think we need to be encouraging development and investors to come to the Antelope Valley, because on the flip side of the coin, when we go out into the public, people ask, why can't we have this business, or why can't we have this restaurant, or why aren't there more jobs? Well, we have to have houses, we have to have businesses. It's a formula. Like I said before, it's might be a little painful going forward for Palmdale because we have a lot of infill development. A lot of the things that are going to be built are going to be backed up to other developments. So this is going to be something the city's going to be dealing with for a while, but we do need to be aware and sensitive to where we put these things. But with this neighborhood, I think it's good. That first phase, I think, is minimal. I don't think there's going to be an impact. And I support seeing the Ritter Ranch project move forward after being stalled out for 20 or 30 years.
Okay, Ms. Bedford, you had a point to make?
No, I'm done.
You're good? Okay. Mr. Olson?
Sure. So, yeah, I agree with things Councilmember Bishop just said. California has a housing crisis. City of Palmdale is no exception to that. We just opened the Trader Joe's. That was 1,000 jobs. The aerospace industry is telling us they're bringing thousands of more jobs. We were in the top 10 in growth of jobs with $200,000 salaries or more. So
In the nation.
In the nation. So we're adding this growth, and we need houses and apartments and everything of all income levels. So I definitely support growth and development. Just to address the water concern, in the Antelope Valley, we've done pretty good at water banking. I wouldn't say that we've solved the water crisis, but I think that we are in a better spot than some other areas. So the great work that Kathy does on the Palmdale Water District and AVEC and some of the water banking projects and new innovative ideas for water are coming. And so I'm okay with that. My concern is the lack of a fire station. Because we've got 1,100 plus homes between Phase 1A and 1B, and you don't quite hit that threshold to trigger the need for a fire station. But you got the Ana Verde community that's in the same boat. Didn't quite hit that threshold, or it's been deferred. You put the two projects together and we're well past that threshold. So I'm pro-growth, but I have my eye on that. Those conversations need to happen more frequent. We have to have a clear idea of when that's coming, where that's coming. Maybe we can talk to the other communities to see how we can do that together. but we saw the destruction in LA, and we need to do everything we can to make sure we prevent that here.
Okay. Good. Do you wish to address the fire issue?
I'm going to start off by fully acknowledging, the fire issue. We very much take it seriously. It is a fine balance between, what is obligated on the project and frankly, what can be used by, LA County Fire. And just building a fire station in and itself doesn't solve the problem. It's making sure that that fire station is staffed and has, the adequate vehicles, to combat fire. So in our conversations with the fire department, they were focused on vehicles, as it related to this first phase, because that's what they believe would be most impactful, because they did not have the funding necessary to house a new fire station. So I agree this is an issue that we all need to talk about, both as a community, along with our neighbors, but we also need to bring in, the fire department as well, because it is, yes, we are bringing additional people to the area. We are meeting the obligations that have been asked of us by the fire department. And a fire station is on the horizon, but is one that, again, the fire station told us they do not want at the moment. So that's just the reality of the world. But we are not in any way discounting, the seriousness of this conversation. And I hope that the council and the city knows who we are at this point in time, that we do what we say we're going to do. And we will absolutely be sitting there at the table with you, having that conversation.
Great, thank you.
Okay, very good. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Yeah, and just to pick up on that, the fire department asked for a pumper truck. And so both Phase 1A and Phase 1B have this requirement. So whichever one goes first is going to have to provide a pumper truck by the 250th certificate of occupancy. You say, well, it's one truck. You know what? One truck can make a difference. It's one more truck to respond to an emergency. It's one more truck to stage on a red flag day that could make a difference. And so in addition to the fire truck, there's fire mitigation fees. In this part of the world, there are very stringent building codes with fire-resistant materials that are required. And master plan communities tend to do better in a fire. The green belts serve as fire breaks. All the utility lines will be underground, so you won't have utility lines to spark fires. There's vegetation management. New water infrastructure is going to be brought into the site. There's going to be a water tank with thousands and thousands of gallons of water. So that new water infrastructure coming in is also helpful. So there is mitigation, and a lot of it. What happened in LA was tragic, and nobody wants to see that again. So the developer is doing all it can to mitigate that risk. It's at the forefront of everybody's mind.
All right, very good. Is there any further discussion?
One more thing, all the houses, all new homes, I think in California, they're required to have a fire sprinkler system, is that correct? Or will these have fire sprinkler systems?
They will, and they also have to have fire-resistant roofs and fire-rated walls. So there are a lot of fire mitigation measures that are going to be present within all of the homes here.
None of which those older houses had.
That's right. That's right. That's why the newer houses tend to do better in a fire. The vegetation management alone is something that helps to, prevent the spread of the wildfire. So all of that is going to be present in this community, plus an evacuation plan that has to be approved by both the fire department and the sheriff department before one certificate of occupancy is issued. So we're trying to cover all the bases. We're working with fire. We're working with sheriff. We want to get there and have this community not just be a great community in terms of the amenities that it provides, but also in terms of the safety. We want residents to feel secure.
And this is going to tie into the existing Anaverde HOA, correct? Maybe?
Anaverde is separate from Ritter Ranch.
Right.
So I don't.
It will have an HOA, though.
We will.
Okay.
We will, definitely.
All right.
Sure.
We won't combine them yet. But my point with the HOA is that in our neighborhood, we actually have neighborhood watch captains that go out and they check for brush. They check the trash cans, they check everything, and I've gotten a letter in the past saying, hey, you know, your weeds are a little much on the side yard, you know? Nobody likes to get those letters, but it is helpful, you know, you left your trash can outside, this and
We
that.
agree.
But that's what the HOAs are for, is to keep the neighborhood in good condition and in good standing, and I think that's one of the reasons why you said those types of master plan communities do well.
We agree.
All right, well, my comment is that this has been a long time coming. This plan was adopted back in the 90s. And there's been studied over and over again. There's been litigation over it. It's been resolved. And there's no question that housing is a big problem in the state of California. And in fact, it's an issue here in Antelope Valley, particularly in Palmdale. We're lacking houses that would serve many of the high-tech people that are coming in here for aerospace that are currently having to reside in hotels and or in Santa Clarita or out of the area. So it seems to me that this project is going to be a big plus, not only for Palmdale, but I believe also for the residents around there in Leona Valley, Lake Elizabeth zone. I think that it'll all work out as we move forward. So is there any further discussion by anyone? Call for the question. So we'll go ahead and ask that we vote.
Start voting. Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that brings us to item number 8, which is appointing a member of a city council to serve as a delegate to the Southern California Association of Governments, Regional Council District 43 for a 2-year term. Is there a motion? Is there a nomination?
I would like to nominate Councilmember Bishop.
Okay, is there a second?
I would like to second that.
Very good. Is there any further
Accept.
discussion needed here for appointing Mr. Bishop to this? Is this something you want to do, Mr. Bishop?
Yes, I would very much like to do this. I've attended a lot of SCAG conferences in the past, and I'd be honored and would really like the opportunity to step up and represent our city in a regional
Very good.
matter.
There's no need for public comment on this one, right? Okay.
No.
All right. If any
Start
further
voting.
discussion on this? Start voting? Okay,
Start
well,
voting.
we'll start voting then.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, so congratulations, Mr. Bishop. Okay.
More meetings.
All right, so 9.1 was withdrawn, and so we now come to the city manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to invite everyone to our 2025 kickoff for Seasons of Service at the Desert Cleanup this Saturday. It's from 9 to 12 at Barrel Springs Park and Ride. We will meet and clean up the general area, so we appreciate anybody that wants to come out. You can get more information on our website. We also are working in conjunction with the Sickle Cell Awareness Family Day and 5K Walk. I know a couple of our council members will be out there Saturday from 10 to 3. Also wanted to announce that we have just launched our new Next Generation Business Watch program. If you own a business in the city of Palmdale, please reach out to our public safety team. We really would like to get a robust business watch program up and going, and I think for the first few that sign up, they get some free Ring cameras and things like that. So lots moving in public safety, as well as everything that you've seen tonight. Palmdale's growing. End of report.
Yes, that's right. It is. Very good, thank you. We will move on to the sheriff's report. Good evening, Captain.
Good evening, Mayor, Laurel, and council. Response times to routine calls for service in the month of January were 109 minutes in the city, compared to 124 minutes in 2024, despite multiple days of response times to the fires. We handled 3,163 calls for service in the month of January. We continued our partnership with the city's public safety staff, with CSOs handling 242 incidents and writing 186 reports. We continue to appreciate this partnership, which is a model of efficiently utilizing city resources to mutually address public safety concerns. During the month of January, the PAC team made 67 arrests, which is your SAO team or special assignment team. They issued 41 citations, of which 20 were the Palmdale Municipal Code violations. Based on preliminary data, we had 298 Part 1 crimes in the month of January, which was 7% less than the 2024 monthly average of 323, and slightly lower than the 301 Part 1 crimes we had in the month of January of 2024. So a little less crime, a little less calls for service as well in the month of January. Gang-related shootings are down 50% compared to 2024. We made a total of 311 arrests in the month of January, and we recovered 34 guns during the month of January as well. Graffiti continues to be a prominent issue. We had 14 arrests for graffiti as well as 23 additional graffiti investigations. We had 180 reported traffic collisions in the month of January and 2 fatal collisions. For the reported traffic collisions, a lot of it had to do with the weather and people driving a little too fast. Traffic citations were down by half due to the fire response, but we still managed almost 400 citations overall. Virtual deputy continues to expand. We offered over 50 reports in January and engaged with over 100 community members during this, using this technology, and that was all with 1 deputy assigned to the position. So a pretty good resource so far, and we're starting to expand it. I would like to conclude by addressing an issue impacting our community. There's a lot of chatter and speculation about immigration enforcement and the Sheriff's Department's role. The Sheriff's Department remains steadfast in our mission to serve and protect all individuals in our community, regardless of their background, race, or status. Building public trust within our community, regardless of immigration status, is essential for ensuring public safety. We want all victims and witnesses, including undocumented individuals, to feel safe and supported in coming forward to report crimes without fear. California State Bill 54 and county policy prohibits us from cooperating with federal immigration officials, the Sheriff's Department, that is. Immigration officials are not in our facilities and are prohibited from using county property, databases, and personnel unless there's a federal warrant. And then for my, my Spanish speakers, in Espanol. Estamos aquí para proteger a nuestra comunidad. Nosotros no estamos aquí para forzar los motivos y dietas de la migración. Queremos que todas las víctimas y testigos se sientan confiados, seguros y apoyados en seguir confiando en los alguaciles del Condado de Los Angeles. Basically meaning we're there to take reports from victims. We're there to serve the public. We're not worried about your immigration status. We have a Spanish-speaking Q&A event coming up, only in Spanish. It's scheduled for March 21st, 27 de marzo at 10 a.m., 10 de la mañana. The address is 2072 East Palmdale Boulevard, 2072 Boulevard Este de Palmdale. And that's the end of my report.
All right, don't go away. Any questions by anyone? Okay. I have a question.
Sure.
If there's a demonstration, are the participants in that demonstration permitted to block traffic?
To block traffic, no.
To walk in the street?
It depends.
Depends on what?
It depends. So it depends on how they're doing it. If they're going with the flow of traffic and they're not impeding traffic and it's done in a safe manner in which some case laws deem streets to be part of the public access way, it depends. Again, like if it's jaywalking, they're impeding traffic, it's a judgment call on law enforcement's response, and there's a means test as to whether or not it's impeding traffic and there's enough for us to call it an unlawful assembly and do a dispersal order. So
I believe strongly in the First Amendment right to speak, to demonstrate, to associate, and so on. But I think that there has to be a limit when it comes to possibly violating laws.
Absolutely.
And I believe we forwarded a video to you that showed that an individual that was involved in the first demonstration was urging people to get into the street to do that.
Okay.
Is the Sheriff's Department going to do something about that?
At this point, no, but we're consulting with the District Attorney's Office first as to the legality of the conduct.
Okay. Is that a concern that you wish to avoid in the future for that kind of conduct to happen?
I don't understand your question, sir. Avoid people being in the streets?
Yes.
Is that what you mean? Yes, absolutely. But again, it's a case-by-case basis. It's based on the judgment of the deputy sheriffs and law enforcement personnel on scene at that time. Again, it's a means test as well, right? We're not going to go use something that's deemed to be unlawful force or otherwise when we could try to get through other peaceful measures first with warnings and getting people to acknowledge that and to abide by it.
All right. Okay. Any questions based on that? Go ahead,
Not
Mr.
on-
Bishop.
Not on that, but I had one thing. I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, there's been some burglaries and break-ins of local businesses.
Yes.
A few of them were in my district. Can you speak to that and any other issues that you're potentially having?
I can
in your
give you some
department?
limited information. I know Santa Clarita was hit a couple days ago. It appears to be a crew that's related. The major crimes team from the sheriff's department is investigating it now. I don't want to give too much out because it's still an active investigation. It appears they are using cars that are not related to them. They're stolen vehicles, but it is an active investigation. I feel we will get something on it soon.
Okay. Is there anything that you can recommend that these business owners do, or even residents of our city, as we see these types of crimes increasing?
Biggest thing you can do for, community prevention of crime, especially when a business is leave your lights on at night, update your security technology, your cameras, hire private security, or put in a check with us to have us go do patrol checks of your area too. But lighting in general is gonna be the biggest thing. And then having some type of security system, some type of technology, something to deter, right? But you gotta keep in mind too, when we've seen some of these videos, people have masks on, everything else. So it's more or less trying to prevent it by telling people that somebody's still at the business or whatever it may be. They need to see some type of activity. They're not gonna go in if it looks like it's occupied versus unoccupied.
And never leave cash in your register.
Absolutely. Don't leave valuables, log everything you have. And again, surveillance, technology, alarm systems, whatever it may be, even, security, paying for private security to have more of a visible presence, those will all deter.
Are you familiar with breaking glass-proof film, like clear film they put on the inside of the windows, and it keeps the glass from shattering? I think it's something we need to do some outreach
It's a
for.
newer technology, and some of the other municipalities in LA County have been going towards it, and I think they've even been subsidizing folks for it too.
Because I've seen some videos where the people in a test environment, they try to break through a glass window, it's just a clear film on the inside. It's like a 6 mil plastic. Guy breaks in without it, throws it right through, glass shatters, boom. The window that has the film on it, the guy's sitting there with the sledgehammer beating it, and it's just not budging.
Every little bit helps, but if I remember right, the stuff's not cheap either. So it's definitely an investment from the business to have it on their windows.
I've looked into it, it's now become a lot cheaper. You can get it online at popular retailers. It's become a lot more affordable, and I recommend homes and businesses do that because it makes it almost impossible. And if you do get through, you're going to be pounding on the window for a matter of minutes, which is not ideal until you break the whole panel out. So I think we should work on outreach on that, not only from your department, but probably from the city side.
Same thing applies with catalytic converters. If park your car in front of a well-lit area, hopefully in front of a security camera. Those are things or in the garage. But at least then we'll be able to detect what happened when it got stolen and investigate it from there.
Mr. Olson?
Yes, so related to the 20 municipal violations that were written by deputies, so is there outreach or training to remind the deputies that they have the option to write the penal violation or the municipal violation?
Yes, sir.
Great.
We've gone through the training and with the contracted attorney through the city as well.
Right, just so the public knows, we took steps to mirror our municipal code, to match the penal code, to give deputies the ability to choose which one they write. They could send it to the DA and it may or may not get prosecuted, or they can send it to us and we will prosecute it. And item 5.5 on our consent calendar was just for that, Civica to do the prosecutions. I was gonna ask, do we know what the success rate is on those prosecutions?
They're currently working their way through the courts, the first dozen or so, 30 or so that we've issued. We have general support from the courthouse in these matters.
Great, perfect.
Okay.
Palmdale
else?
prosecutes.
Anything, Ms. Bettencourt, anything? Thank you, Captain.
Thank you. Have a good
Appreciate it
night.
very much. All right, so now we go to non-agenda public comments, number 12.
We have Karen Lindsay.
All right. Regardless of race or ethnicity, entering our country through the ports of entry is a violation of our law. Individuals who enter illegally should be deported immediately and return them to their country. The Democratic Party has heeded the mandate of 77 million voters of the 2024 election. Their intention to grant citizenship to illegal aliens appears to be a strategy to secure new electric and maintain power. I oppose the use of Palmdale resources to create workshops that impede ICE immigration enforcement. Utilizing our resources in this manner violates Title 8 of the U.S. Code, Section 1324. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next.
We have Mickey Martinez.
Hi, I'm Mickey Martinez. I've been a Palmdale resident since 1989. I've watched as our community has grown in population, so has the crime, tragically. I'm fully in support of immigrants that come here legally the right way. I'm an educator, I'm a teacher, I like to, and a parent. I think it's important to teach kids to do things the right way. So supporting anybody who wants to come here, as long as they come here legally, because in essence, the word illegal is not lawful. Let's see, criminals, not everyone, well, I understand not everyone who comes here, the people that come here illegally, a lot of them bring crime with them. So if we become a sanctuary city, which I'm opposing, we're asking for trouble. We're asking for more crime to come to us. Let's see, Palmdale's known for many amazing things, including Dry Town, the amphitheater. Sports teams flock here to play at the Big 8. It brings people to the, hotels and, the restaurants and all those activities. If we become a sanctuary city, I'm fearful that there will be, financial, it'll be bad. It'll be bad financially for our city, as well as for the safety of everybody here. People just won't want to come here anymore. I know personally, I'm a sports mom. I, travel from city to city, and a lot of people come here. And I'm telling you, the type of people that come here will not bring their kids here if they know we are known as a sanctuary city. With the safety and integrity of our community at risk, it's imperative that we create a resolution to designate Palmdale as a non-sanctuary city, where our city collaborates in turning in illegal aliens that have committed crimes rather than impeding in the process. And I certainly don't want any of my taxpayer money going towards anything that would impede on the process if somebody did something wrong.
Thank you, ma'am. Next.
We have Helen Valador.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm Helen Valador. I'm here to extend an invitation to everyone. You have a copy of this. It may not be pink, though. I'm assigned and currently work at Buena Vista, and it's over off of 47th and Hillcrest, and we'd like to invite you to come participate in our Read Across America. That is happening the first week of March. And also, if you're not available during the day, we are also sponsoring a community schools event, which will be March 6th, and it will be the same thing, reading to children, and those hours are between 5 and 7. My information is on the paper. Please contact me, let me know when you're available, any one of those days that week, and can't wait to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Valdor, appreciate it. Next person.
PFC.
It's you, Rich. Did I not put my name there?
No, it just says PFC.
Mistake, sorry, guys.
Okay,
I'm spending too much time there.
Maybe it's someone else's, but.
A couple of things. First of all, a while back, I came here and asked for the council to pass a resolution to send a letter, a resolution to Sacramento to let Gavin Newsom know that the impending rise in fuel costs due to the California Air Resources Board's decision to change the fuel mixtures we're going to be using, that we send him a resolution saying that this is not something that is acceptable. We're talking about the first change, is my understanding is it's a 62-cent per gallon increase. That's ridiculous in a state where we're already paying more than any other state in the nation for gasoline. And then, of course, we've got the recent tax here in Palmdale that raised us up to 11.25%, which it's funny that I see that, and then I see down in Laguna Beach it's 7.25%. Now, I'm not asking them to have theirs raised, but we're already overburdened here. And I asked for this resolution, and what I was told eventually was that I think there was a letter that was supposed to have been sent. I haven't seen any such letter. I would like to see it if it exists, but that still isn't a resolution. Now, Austin, you apparently are going to be the representative to this SCAG committee. Congratulations, great. I'm sure you'll do a great job. If we pass a resolution like I'm asking, perhaps you can take it to that organization and spread the word, and maybe other cities will do the same thing. because this is an unconscionable rise in prices for people who are already being overburdened. The other thing I want to address really quickly is we've asked in the past for town hall type meetings with each of our council people, and we've been denied for one reason or another. The Brown Act precludes us from having a discussion. It's not acceptable. We need to be able to have discussions with our elected leaders, so you know where we are and we know what you think, and we're being represented properly. I really can't think of a reasonable excuse not to have town hall meetings with your constituents, at least quarterly. I'm not asking for something every month. If it were me up there, I'm not there yet, but if I were, I'd do it at a park if I had to, but it needs to be done.
Thank you, Mr. Gayo.
Steve Hill.
Thank you, Rich. Hello, how's everyone? How you been? You know who I am. My name is Steve Hill, longtime resident of the Antelope Valley, United States Marine Corps veteran, retired peace officer, and I've been appraising real estate for the last 20 years. I'm not here today to talk about my dog that was shot and killed by the Sheriff's Department on my property in my driveway that didn't bite anybody. No, today I'm here to request that Captain Joshua Barton be immediately and expeditiously removed from the Palmdale Sheriff's Station, because but for him telling a lie during an investigation, I wouldn't have been going through the pure hell that I've been going through the last 5 years. It's all documented. It's in the report. There's a recording of the interview, which was witnessed by Vanessa Wilk. And I can't get anybody to say anything. Scott Wilk was the only one who pushed for answers in my arrest. The only one. So, till you guys can get some intestinal fortitude to speak out about justice, especially during Black History Month, it'd be nice right about now. Speak out about what they did to me, about my arrest, about the confiscation of my weapons, about being taken to jail like a common criminal. If you guys, one of you all have my cell phone number, I got yours. Someone speak up. I need you to speak up now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Michelle H.
Hello. I'm just here to speak about hopefully maybe adopting a resolution to declare Palmdale non-sanctuary city. We have way too many sanctuary cities in our district, in our county, and I think that there are politicians like Juan Carrillo that are, if they're genuinely compassionate towards illegal aliens, they should personally house and support them using their own resources. It's unfair to place this burden on taxpayers. While the aspiration to live in the American dream is valid, it must be pursued legally. I oppose the use of Palmdale's resources to establish workshops that impede ICE enforcement. Doing so violates Title 8 of the U.S. Code, Section 1324. And I strongly encourage you to declare Palmdale a non-sanctuary city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle Royale.
It's royal. As in princess.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, guys. You all know me. Thank you for having me. And you know what I'm here to speak about. Thank you, Eric, for talking about the fire department. Thank you, Austin, for pointing out the fact that all of those new homes will have fire retardant type building things in them. And truly, this is not about Ritter Ranch. We need homes. I've said that millions of times. We need homes. What we have is, we have a Anaverdi got built, no fire, even though it was set up there. Miraculously, the name got changed, and now we have Ritter, A and B, and there's lots of Ritter, and that's fine. We also have Anaverdi Nuevo, who is now going to be given the green light to go. And I understand that there was supposed to be an access bridge to help people get out of that area that has now been put to the second phase. Like I said last time I was here to visit with you guys. And I don't want to come here and say these things every single time so that you just stop listening, because it's truly important. We need a fire station. We probably need two, but I'm going to be really excited for one. LA County Fire, in Leona Valley, we have it's not a volunteer, but it's an on-call fire station. So those people are not housed there. They're technically part-time, and they are paid for in 2-hour increments. So maybe we can have that in the Ana Verde, Ritter Ranch, and Ana Verde Nuevo area. Maybe that's what we can do. And I know these gentlemen talked about the pumper truck, and I said again, where are they gonna park it? I was also on a phone call with one of their stakeholders about a week and a half ago, who said, point blank, we should have pulled out of here 5 years ago. They're not a stakeholder in our community. They're not us. It's up to you and the city and everyone to pull together and figure out how to get the infrastructure that we need. I appreciate your time. You know how passionate I am about a fire station and why. And thank you, guys. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Hugo Vargas.
Mr. Vargas.
Good evening. I know I'm not as educated as the former speaker, so please bear with me. I am an immigrant. I came into the United States legally. I waited in visa lines to get my passport and do it legally. At your front of your house, when the door is closed, if somebody knocks at the door, you don't open the door, that doesn't mean they're going to go in the backyard and jump in the back. That border is for a reason. Respect the laws of this country. People who break the laws and come here. I don't want to hear this discussion but they contribute to the economy. I don't want to hear that. Respect the laws of this country. Come here legally. By the way, congratulations to City of Palmdale. When we spearheaded City Council and we declared that City of Palmdale was the first one, said no more vaccine mandates and masks. Thank you, City of Palmdale. And all the rest of the state followed up on it. But this time we're not going to be the first one to declare we're going to be a non-sanctuary city because Huntington Beach already has declared it. But let's be at least the second. Let's declare that City of Palmdale will be a non-sanctuary city. And please don't impede ICE agents if they're looking for somebody. Sheriff Department said, we're not going to cooperate. Well, they're getting paid to do cooperate for people who are breaking the laws. We're all here. Juan Korea, we're getting paid to serve the people of Palmdale and not illegal aliens. I appreciate your consideration. City of Palmdale should be a non-sanctuary. Thank you.
Here, here.
Edith Roman.
Good evening, everyone. Okay, my name is Edith Roman. My pronoun is take our country back. Okay? Juan Carrillo sent his representative pleading to use our resources to set up comprehensive immigration rights and education workshop for Palmdale residents. But she meant for illegal alien, okay, to evade the ICE enforcement. One of the city council members claimed they live in Palmdale, therefore they are resident. No, they are invader of our country, waving their own country flags in American soil. They are at war with the United States. American citizens are tired of these illegal alien criminals taking advantage of our immigration system, free education, health care, free housing, free food stamp. We already have enough not-working American citizens who perpetuate a cycle of dependency on our already strained public services. I don't want to force to pay for either group. We the people demand council member pass a resolution, no Palmdale resource to be used on setting up a workshop for illegal alien. And this issue must be put on the agenda page in the next meeting for the council member to vote on. We also demand that Palmdale adopt a resolution declaring Palmdale City a non-sanctuary city for the illegal alien for the prevention of crime. Politicians who circumvent the law will be held accountable by AG Bondi for aiding and abetting illegal alien. Message to Juan Carrillo. FAFO, Trump is not messing around this time. Make America safe again. Thank you.
Okay.
Paul Roman.
I know there's a lot of enthusiasm for all the speakers, but one of our rules is no outburst, and I would appreciate it if we could adhere to that rule. Applause, please. We don't need to engage in that. We know that you support these speakers. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, council members and Mayor Loa. My name's Paul. First, hats off to our brave law enforcement, the ICE agents rounding up the illegal criminals and sending them back to where they came from. Our country is facing a troubling situation where corrupt politicians are protecting illegal criminals over American citizens. We'll remember that. Democrats lost the 24 election to recover. They must import millions of illegal criminals and aliens to create a new electorate that they can keep their power and fatten their pockets. They have not learned why 77 million Americans voted for President Trump. We, the people, will no longer tolerate the abuse of our immigration systems and taking advantage of our generosity. It's imperative the council put this issue on agenda and upcoming council meetings and pass the resolution not to use our resources to set up a workshop by next council meeting. If Palmdale City Council members are going to use our resources to set up a Know Your Rights workshop for the illegal criminals as well as the aliens, you are aiding and abetting them and have violated the Title 8 USC Section 1324. We're taking back our country. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Jill Moran.
I'm Jill Morantz, and we have lived in Palmdale for the last 33 years. Illegal aliens have done enough harm to our country and to our citizens. 77 million Americans have given a mandate to President Trump to remove all illegal aliens to keep us safe. It is cheaper to pay one time for removal than to spend years after years for them to milk our health care, social programs, Section 8 housing, free phones, etc. I oppose using Palmdale resources to set up a workshop to impede immigration enforcement. If you do that, you have violated Title 8 U.S. Code Section 1324, and also I encourage you to make Palmdale a non-sanctuary city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Ross.
Mr. Ross, please.
Good evening.
Hey, Mr. Ross.
I'm Michael Ross. I have a bunch of notes here. I'll try and get quick. That gas station, I was late because I had to work, but this gas station, I see a snake in the grass with this hydrogen fuel sales stuff. Seems kind of odd that we have our neighbors building a place that's going to make hydrogen fuel, which I'm totally against. I don't think we have done enough research on that to say that it's safe in our community. So I think it's something that you should really consider, okay? The tax thing, you know what, I'm not a dumb guy. I read the law and somehow we said we wanted less taxes and we're ending up with more taxes. So I think that's something that the city council has to look at with this new tax increase. I will suggest that if the taxes go up, we certainly have the opportunity to repeal Measure AV taxes, and I personally will be happy to lead that charge. Taxes taken out of the community, out of our pockets, it hurts our economy. It's been proven time and time and time again. The only other thing on that is we are asked to give money, but we're not told what it's for. And then we're told, oh, we're going to do this with it or that with it. I would really prefer to see a plan and say, we want to raise this amount of money. I run a business. This is how I do it. I say I want to do something. I raise the money. I save the money. I pay for it. There you go. I don't know why we can't do that with our city as well. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't vote for any more taxes. I don't know how. I own a forensic engineering firm. I'm not a stupid guy. I read that law, and somehow I feel like I got boondoggled. So the last thing is the town hall meetings. I totally agree with that. I think if we're truly going to be representatives, we need to meet face to face and have a discussion. This is cool. It's great seeing you guys. You know, love you guys. But at the end of the day, there's nothing like sitting down with a group of people who are concerned to be able to speak with you and have a dialogue. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Ross.
No more speaker cards on this section.
Yeah, he promised he was going to come back.
I did. Or gave you a warning, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that my concerns about water for Ritter Ranch have been addressed. It's really impressive to see local government respond to the residents and give them an answer. Of course, I have a couple other things to whine about. I am a gadfly, after all. No more money for marketing for the auto mall. The money could be spent on something that we could really use, like improving animal services. We need that desperately. So I didn't want to wait until these issues came up. I wanted to kind of get out in front of it and let you know that a lot of people disfavor the one and favor the other. I'm not alone. Also, I would like to point out on the town hall meetings, Ms. Alarcon had one. What my friends here said is absolutely incorrect. There has been a town hall meeting. Sure, we could use more, that'd be great, but to say that there haven't been any is inaccurate. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Marcia?
No, I'm cool.
Okay. Any other speakers? Any other speaker wishing to come forward? All right. Then with that, we'll close that item, and we will go to council reports, announcements, and requests for future items. So we'll start with Mr. Bishop over here.
Yeah. So, handful of events, some of them I attended with some of the fellow council members. One that sticks out, I attended with Mayor Loa, was Justice Sunday Conception, an exploration of innovation at the Palmdale Playhouse. They did a fantastic job. It was an excellent show.
It was.
And it was a real privilege to go and speak to the kids before the show. So I'm glad I was able to attend with you.
Yes, it was.
A lot of the other stuff, our usual meetings. We met with the state treasurer. Air quality, we had the air quality meeting today. I was today's meeting, not the last meeting, but we approved funds for another charging station at the Park and Ride on Avenue S. So we're starting to expand our infrastructure there. And that's about it. That's worth noticing. And thank you for the appointment to SCAG. I will do my best to represent the city.
We know you will.
All right, that's it.
Mr. Olson?
My report has been submitted, and you can find it online. I just want to highlight a couple things. The memorial for Dave Gomez. Again, Kathy, we're extremely sorry for your loss, but we will continue to honor Dave's legacy, and we'll fight for mortgage-paying jobs and pensions and everything else. So, again, we're sorry for your loss. Other than that, everything pretty standard. Meetings that boards that I was appointed to, all the transportation committees and boards. Other than that, I wanted to highlight a luncheon we had with State Treasurer Fiona Ma, and then after the luncheon, she gave us 30 minutes conversation that was very eye-opening. She might not have the ability to suggest where money goes, but she was a great source of knowledge of where the money is. And I think we're going to be able to take advantage of that, and I think that we have a new ally for this area. So I wanted to highlight that. And as far as town hall goes, I'm down. I've heard so many things that I think are well intent, but just maybe inaccurate, or I have a different perspective, and I would love to talk to anybody that wants to hear it. So I will plan one.
Okay. Ms. Betancourt?
My report has been filed, so you guys can look at that, but I want to talk about town halls. I did have a town hall, and what I found interesting was almost no one at my town hall was from my district. So I think people are looking for a conversation, and if they can't talk to their council person, they'll come talk to someone else. So it's a worthy event, and I combined it with the Neighborhood Watch, and we did some Ring doorbell giveaways and that type of thing. But we do need to have more of those. I agree with all of you on that. The other thing is that regarding the gas tax, we did bring that up with, I think it was Contract Cities. And the answer we got back was basically that they weren't really interested in pushing it forward because there are so many liberal cities with electric cars that were not in favor of us reducing the gas tax. It's a very convoluted story, and I'm sorry that the information didn't get back to you. I do apologize. So I will have lunch and we'll discuss that at length. But yeah, it was something that they weren't interested in at the time. But I did bring it up. So,
All right.
that's it.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
may I say
sure,
one more thing off of that? So this conversation came up before about the town halls, and I think that we all agreed that we wanted to do them. And so the town, the neighborhood watch thing kind of became that we will all show up and take questions and communicate with the public and disperse information on how to keep people safe. And I think that maybe that got lost in translation, so I will separate those things and hold my own specific separate town hall.
Or maybe we can do one together, so we're all there and they can ask any council person a question.
We'd have to
We'd have to
agendize
agendize
it.
it per Brown Act.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. Okay, so my report has been submitted as well, and I just want to comment, of course, I participated in the Dave Gomez Memorial, Kathy, as you know, and, he will definitely be missed, and we will keep him in our minds forever, and I hope in some way we can do something to memorialize him in the city in some fashion going forward. So I have all of these items. I did go to Washington during the inaugural, and I took advantage of being there to meet with Congressman Whitesides, who was elected, and I met with him because of a need for us to get additional funding for our grade separation at Rancho Vista and Sierra Highway, which has been the site of several fatalities in the past and many other accidents, besides making it very difficult for aerospace workers and other people that work at Plant 42 to get there because of the traffic that is generated at that intersection and also at the intersection down at Columbia or M and Sierra Highway. So he was very receptive to that. I will say that Congressman Garcia did provide us with a substantial amount of money. I believe the total of that was $25 million, but that, am I wrong on that number?
Sorry, my fault. He provided a $5 million appropriation. The $23 million we got was from the RAISE grant, which was the infrastructure plan.
Okay, all right, so we make a step forward and sometimes we take two back. But in any event, Congressman Whiteside indicated that he certainly wants us to be able to overcome whatever the gap is to get that done. And it serves our military, right, because of Plant 42. I also was able to have a meeting directly with Senator Padilla on the same issue, and he expressed support as well. We do have representatives in Washington, D.C. that represent our interests there. They're identified as lobbyists, and I had meetings with both of them, the Townsend Group, which represents us with the House of Representatives, and Jet Boots, who is our Senate representative. So all in the spirit of trying to get funding to get that grade separation, which we've been working on since at least the year 2000. And here it is, 25 years later, and we still don't have enough money to get that done. So the rest of these things are on here, and there were several things that we attended together, and many more. So, yes, of course, Ms. Bettencourt.
Since I see him sitting in the back, I want to thank Pastor Mike and all of the other churches that did a Pray Across the Antelope Valley for us. So thank you for doing that. We can use all the prayers we can get, no matter what your religion is. Pray and pray hard and pray often.
Very good. Sure. Thank you. All right. With that.
Mayor Loa, can I ask one more thing?
Yes,
as
of
the city
course.
manager?
Mr. Bishop.
Got a few questions over the last week about the roundabout at 40th East. I asked the city manager earlier, but just for any of the public that's listening, I know that's become kind of an issue. It's been under construction for a while. Can you elaborate as to why?
We are waiting for SCE to energize it.
Oh, just like Avenue R.
And Mayor, just a point of clarification, and
Yeah.
if I misspoke, we got a total of 28 million for Rancho Vista, 5 million from Garcia, and 23 from the RAISE grant. So I just wanted to make sure, and then we have a $2 million match committed. So we've got 30 million committed to that project this year.
And that leaves us how much short? You don't want to say.
I don't, 60
Yeah,
or 70?
we're probably about 30% of the way there. So, this is a very urgent matter for us. It's a very significant and important thing. I thought it was important to try to meet our congressional people to try to advance that and bring that forward to them. I had an opportunity on Saturday night at an event downtown LA, and Congressman Whiteside was there. I brought it back up with him. I know we're going to visit Washington DC in March. The funds that you're talking about came as a direct result of our meetings with that group in Washington DC last year. And we're going to go back to advocate for additional funding. Insofar as the sales tax is concerned, we are going to present to the entire public in every forum possible, in every way possible, as to how that money is going to be applied. The reason we went for that is because if we don't, then other entities will jump into that gap, and the money will be going to downtown LA or Sacramento. If you prefer them to be handling the money, then more power to you. But we thought that we need to keep the money here locally. We intend to use it in the most productive way possible to benefit all of the residents of the city of Palmdale. And you'll all be included in the conversation. All right, anything else? Yes, sir.
Do we have an estimated completion date on the roundabout? People are asking.
I don't, but we will follow up. As I understand, I think do you want to come up, Lee? Do you know? I think
I thought Livingston would have known for sure. He has an idea. All right.
I think we've gotten some of the parts. It's just
Yeah.
a little bit more to do.
Good evening. We're about 2 weeks away from energizing it and opening the closure.
Oh, happy day.
Much faster than I thought.
Yeah, a lot of people have to go down 35th. It's beautiful. It looks great. Once again, it really is another gem in our city, and it's going to improve traffic. It's kind of a main thoroughfare, actually. And if you go down 35th, you see a lot more traffic than there usually is.
Well, thank goodness 35th has been completely repaved. So when they drive down 35th, it's a good experience.
Yes, and that's what we want to show.
That's my street.
That's what we want to show people. We're rebuilding our city, repairing the roads, and we're doing that. We're going to continue to do that. The number one thing I've seen online is people have said, now that there's more sales tax, no more potholes.
Absolutely.
And it takes some growing pains involved with that. So there's going to be inconveniences that are going to be put in our way, but at the end of time, we will, as Mr. Olson says, everything is coming up Palmdale. So we intend to push that agenda further as much as possible. All right, with that then, is there an announcement by the city attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council and public. We have two agendized items. 14-1 is dealing with some existing litigation. The case number is listed there. 14-2 has matured a little bit. It has gone from anticipated into existing litigation, the same government code as 14-1, 54956.9D1. In each instance, we will update the council and get direction. So at your convenience, we can adjourn back to consider these.
Very good. So we will be back after we consider those two items.
hear from Mrs. Radish?
Okay, so we are returned. Is there an announcement by the city attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and staff stalwarts. Council was updated on 14.1, 14.2, gave direction, but no reportable actions occurred. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Then with that, we will adjourn the meeting to March 4th, 2025 at 5 o'clock PM, City Hall, right here. Thank you all for being here. You're still here?
Bill didn't even sit down. He's already got 1 foot in the car.